Hello, everybody. My name is Dotti Berry, and I'm CEO of Training to Transform Global Enterprises. And I'm a consultant, a coach, a trainer, and a speaker certified with best technologies. One of the things that I love to do is profile some of our amazing trainers that we have utilizing the bank methodology. And you may be thinking right now, what is that? Well, you're going to not only find out about that, but you are going to find out about an amazing trainer coach that we have and who is my guest today. Gagan, are you there?
Yes, Dottie, I am. How are you this morning?
Oh, wonderful. Well, let me give you a proper introduction, as we say in the South where I grew up. But Gagan Sarkaria. Okay, are amazing for one thing. I had the privilege of meeting you at what we call our PhD training in Scottsdale in December. Now, the unfortunate part is that I didn't get to spend enough time with you there. What I'm excited about is the collaboration and the relationship that we're forming together here since that time. And so I came to you and said, hey, let me interview on one of our hangouts. I have to tell you that her colleagues and her clients have nicknamed her Gigi. So I've gotten to be in the Gigi club now, you know?
Absolutely.
And there's a reason they call her Gigi. She is a go-getter and a go-giver. And I can tell you from my experience of being around her, that's exactly who she is. You know, Gigi, what I love about you is that you build people first, not businesses. Now, you are building a business. There's no doubt about that. But you've recognized that without the people, no business exists. So, you know, you love to like fold and score their mindsets, their behaviors, and their skill sets to achieve what we say is unique transformational results you've shared with me. Now, one of the things I love is that you compare it to origami, right? And
Yes.
so your explanation is that one would take a flat two-dimensional piece of paper to fold and score it over a few steps to then create a beautiful, beautiful, transforming, three-dimensional, piece that, as we all know in origami, sometimes the things that get created are beyond like anything we might have imagined, but you're doing this and creating just like a lotus flower. So your intention, I think I see, is to grow people, to build them. And you know, you've said that one has to go through these origami steps to plan and accomplish these transformational results. So,
Yes.
you know, I just find this to be an amazing opportunity with you, Gigi. So tell me a little bit more. I wanted to make sure that rather than, and here I am, I'm Dotti Berry, I popped you up in that window because I just wanted to be focused on you, featuring you as I was sharing that information about your introduction. So it's such a pleasure to have you here, and wow, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Dottie. It is a huge honor to be here with you today live and in this world of technological advancements and how we can wrap the world around us with our message. I am so grateful that you reached out to me and said that you wanted to do something together on Google Hangouts. So thank you for the honor and the opportunity. You know, my journey started in India because I was born and brought up there. I've been in the United States for about 15 and a half years. So that journey has been full of struggles, challenges, both personally and career-wise, but at the same time, my values, my passion, my commitment to growth has never decreased. So perseverance has been my key factor that allowed me to survive not only my lifetime as a girl, child, growing up in a third world country, but it also helped me and benefited me with my growth factors and bringing in the vast number of opportunities in this beautiful land of opportunities, the United States of America. People don't realize where they come from and what they have right here in our country, and it is truly a blessing and an honor to be here. you know, we all have our challenges in life, but we forget where we come from. So
Yeah.
in my process of 15 and a half years and going through 2 graduate schools, I realized that our self-worth is what is the biggest hurdle in our own growth, especially as women. So
Yeah.
I wanted that to be my strength and also my purpose in life, where I can transform people. And I focus on teaching young adults, focused professionals, and growing organizations how to unfold their success. And you talked about origami, and that is absolutely true. That is a visual. That is my method that I use in my coaching programs, in my workshops, that you could actually be a two-dimensional piece of artwork, a flat person, or a flat piece of paper, where you just need the right steps to follow, the right scoring of your mindsets and your skill sets to then transform into your full potential. And
Oh,
I have been blessed to have great mentors throughout my career, throughout my life. And I owe it to those highly accomplished and acclaimed mentors to the level that I am today. So my company, actually I rebranded it and reworked it. I've had a company called GS Design Solutions for almost 20 years. I come from visual communications background. So my graduate research that I have published and I'm passionate about is mankind's ability to perceive, act, and change. So it's a cross-cultural semiotics research based upon how do we perceive. You know, what messages do we come across and how do we individually perceive those messages? And from the very beginning, I grew up in a culture which was other-centered. It was not me-centered. It was always about others. We were taught as women to serve people around us. Growing up, I saw very powerful women in my circle of influence that I had a strong impact from. So my mom, my grandmother, I mean, they are literally the epitome of sacrifices as to how do you build others around you. And I took that approach, that value, into my own profession, into my own business, into my own career. So it has been just a beautiful journey. And I am here today sitting in front of you talking about growth and talking about training and talking about this bank methodology, which is just out of this world, amazing methodology to increase communications, increase influence, develop leadership. It's just great.
Ah, Gigi, thank you so much. You know, as I sit there and listen to you, you're not a survivor, you're a thriver. You know, I tell people everybody survives life. We don't, but what you have survived to become a thriver in life is absolutely an amazing journey. And I find that so many people who come from outside the United States have such, sometimes, honestly, such a greater appreciation for the opportunities we have here. And that's why I love working with you. I work with people in Greece and Romania and different parts of the world, and just their energy of you know, just gratefulness inspires me, you know. So thank you so much. And I do want to say this, as we're talking about the bank methodology, which is the core of our training. It literally starts, I'm going to just show you this. In person, it literally starts with 4 cards, okay?
Yes.
And with these 4 cards in person, a person can arrange these according to the values, okay, on the back of the cards. And in less than 90 seconds, they can place those cards in place with the most important one on top, and then on down the line to the least important. It's not that we all don't have some of these values, but 1 or 2 are going to be our priorities with the way we like to perceive things, or we do perceive things, and the way we like to receive information. Yes. And that, although we learn about ourselves in this process, the real key is, what if you could know that in less than 90 seconds about someone else? your client, your prospect, your parent, your child. It is a global communication tool, and yet this tool can help somebody in sales increase their sales up to 300%, increase their sales velocity 47% with just a few tweaks, which is amazing. And not only that, these 4 cards can be accessed online. Yeah, online, moving them around, and you receive a detailed report. So Absolutely. With that in mind, Gigi, I want to ask you, because one of the key things we want to talk about today is you have multiple trainings. You know, and somebody might say, okay, Gigi, you are certified with John Maxwell.
Yes.
Now, somebody else might be certified with Stephen Covey. There's a lot of great leadership programs out there.
Yes.
What made you say, wow, I've got that, but bank and what it teaches and the methodology is really important to my John Maxwell business? So why don't you share with us about that a little bit?
Sure. Let me take you a little bit backwards.
Okay.
From where the journey actually started. You know, the visual communications, the core of everything that I believe in, whether it is on a personal level, at a spiritual level, at a career professional level, I truly, and at the core of everything, believe that communications is the core of everything that you can do in life. Whether that communication starts with you inside, and then outside with people that you love, care, trust, and then of course the clients you want to serve or the markets you want to enter. So my journey about communications, building it, started in 1991 when I entered into my undergraduate program about communications in India. And then the journey led to my terminal degree, Masters of Fine Arts in Communication Design, where I actually nailed and hit the message strong that one communication style does not fit all. And you had to focus not only on your own style, but you had to focus on the other people, the target audience receiving that message. Just like Tony Robbins says that let your prospect determine your presentation, I wrote my entire thesis based upon that one style of communication does not fit all. And how do we perceive makes a huge difference. And it allows you to identify target audiences as to how do they act, how do they perceive, and how do they change. When you talk about change, you talk about behaviors, you talk about actions, you talk about your own mindset, and how do you drive that to build your businesses. So I started my journey in higher education, teaching inside the classroom, and then being a training and development director over a university for-profit campus, managing and coaching and mentoring 150 plus faculty members on pretty much regular basis. Doing curriculum writing to training writing manuals to facilitation to needs assessment. I came across numerous assessment products and services out there because it depends upon improving somebody's productivity levels and how do you coach them and how do you inspire them. That has been my forte, and I thrive on unfolding people's spark, giving them strategies and offering them solutions in a very collaborative manner. So my journey started with John Maxwell in 2006 when I accidentally started teaching his curriculum, his program, his teachings into my university campus and utilizing his coaching style, his curriculum in my own mentoring at the faculty level.
Okay.
And that led me to his John Maxwell certification program in 2013. As I grew my business, I realized that the communication piece and the strategic assessment piece is very dear to how I do my business. And I kept on looking. I think I was on a constant search that what kind of an assessment piece I could use to grow my business because sometimes my A personality is extremely flaming, and I want things like this, and I want to serve my clients like this, and I want to build a relationship like this. Boom, boom, boom. That kicks in because that's my primary code based upon bank methodology system.
Yes.
So my exposure with the methodology and cracking your code in less than 90 seconds started almost a year ago in April of last year when I clicked on the link. A friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine, she introduced me to the methodology, and all I got in 90 seconds was my assessment of those sorting of those values which are core to my presence and my existence on this planet. And they were 100% accurate and dead bang on the target. And I was super excited, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this what I was looking for? So,
Yeah.
the next thing is history. The next step was meeting Sherry Tree, the author and creator of the methodology system, the one who created Bank and has perfected it over 16 years of her research and utilizing it. And, I just fell in love with the methodology. I just fell in love with the fact that how can I use this at a personal level and help increase communication in my own life, in my own sphere of influence. And then at the outer level, how can I add more value to my clients, both in the B2C level and B2B level? So it's been a beautiful and amazing journey that allows to increase your own productivity level, your own growth quotient at a much, much higher levels. So
yeah, that's great. Yeah, amazing. And when you talk about this and the bank methodology, I just want to share with people, yes, Sherry Tree perfected this over the last 16, 17 years and has been traveling the world for the last 5. And when she finally realized there's only one Sherry Tree, there'll never be, they broke the mold. There's only one Gigi. There's only one Coach B here. And we need each other. We need to collaborate, because I don't care if Sherry, spoke 24/7 for the next 365 days, she could never reach all the people who need to hear about this as a communication tool, as a sales tool. And so people started coming to Sherry and saying, hey, Sherry, could I introduce you to a company? And quite frankly, could I financially benefit from that introduction? Really? And fair question. We're all in business. And then they asked her, Sherry, could I be trained to teach what you're teaching? And so Sherry realized, wow, we really need to create an overall company that can deliver. So Global Bank Academy delivers the training. Academy makes sense. Where people are trained in the PhD methodology that will enable them to go out and train in the B2B environment, which is called Best Technogies, okay? And so that's what we're all doing together. We are licensed in the bank methodology by Best Technology. Now, let me say, you might look at this and go, that is so simple. Well, you bet it is. In fact, when Sherry spoke at Harvard, they said, this is genius. You know why they said that is because when you take something that's complex, which is personality profiling, and in less than 90 seconds, you make it that simple, you are onto something. Sherry reverse engineered, because honestly, Sherry was a person 16, 17 years ago who was kind of failing financially in terms of really trying to get ahead. And she realized that all the coaching, all the personality tests she had taken had really just tried to teach her about herself, but they had done nothing to help her understand more about her prospects, her clients. So she developed this to become more successful. And then as she was, I mean, what happens, Gigi, when we see somebody that's successful, we go, what is it you're doing? Please tell me, share. Well, that's what happened with Sherry, and the rest is history with her. But let's go back to your business, Gigi, and what you were doing. I guess this is a question I would want to ask. And the reason I'm asking it, let me go back and just tell people, I've had people contact me and say, I'm considering doing the John Maxwell leadership you know, and I want to do bank, and how does this fit in? And you know what? I don't pretend to know all the answers. You know what I did? I went to our great group in Facebook where we have all of our certified trainers, and I started saying to them, give me some feedback, because I want to give good information. I don't want to just talk off the top of my head and act like I know the answer to what she has specifically asked me. I got great feedback from people like Yoram Baltanester and you, Gigi, and so that's how I found out that you were certified in the John Maxwell Leadership. So let's kind of, I guess, kind of look at it this way. If somebody were thinking about doing a leadership program like Stephen Covey, like John Maxwell, or they're already in it, what would you say to them? Would you say, how would bank fit in? Should they get bank first, the other second, simultaneously? I mean, let's try to tweak it out for people.
You know, everybody is, Dotti, at a different point in time of their personal growth and, of course, their business growth. Some people come straight out of corporate America, and entrepreneurship is very scary zone for them. And some have done coaching and training and leadership roles in their jobs, and now they have this desire to transform and convert all that experience that they've had in their job situations and scenarios over an X amount of time. They want to bottle it up, and they want to bring it to their entrepreneur business side. One thing that I can tell you about the John Maxwell curriculum and the program is that it's an amazing, amazing leadership development program. I happen to have an MBA in leadership, and then I went and got my John Maxwell certification. There is nothing that I have not learned in my degrees, in my career, that I could have not learned on my own. But there was this desire to honor my process, my journey on leadership development, and to be associated with a leadership guru like John Maxwell himself.
Yes.
That is a respect factor that comes from within, and that's an association need that people have, right?
Yes.
He has a very spiritual aspect. He's a pastor also. Most of his very close-knit teachings are biblical based. Some people have issue with that and some don't, right? Yes. Some people want John Maxwell curriculum to be extremely spiritually oriented, Christian-based learning, and some have a problem that we don't want that. So we have different kind of people all over the world who will value that component, and some will say, no, I have a problem. It is all their personal perceptions, right? Sure. What I learned from John Maxwell was how to actually validate that I am a go-giver, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay to add value to others, to be a giver, to take people along with me to different journeys so that with their success, my success will be a byproduct. Right?
Yes.
So that was a good component and a great learning experience for me, and I'm still a very active member of the community. When bank was exposed to me, when I found the methodology, that was the assessment piece and the genius that I was looking for. And it hit really home with my core, because now it is not about Gigi's experience of 20 years telling you how to do X, Y, and Z. Now I can give you an objective analysis that is based upon your strengths, your values, and your likes, your dislikes, your behaviors. Then I can then take the assessment and I can coach my client how to grow and how to shift the mindset, just like I do for transformation of scoring and unfolding of skill sets. The other thing I realized that it can shorten somebody's time of growth and transformational results much faster, because it is the only assessment piece out in the world as of today that is behavior driven. It identifies your prospects' buying behavior. It identifies your prospects' likes and dislikes and is value-based. So unless somebody has had some kind of a life-changing event in the past 1 year to 5 years, you're not going to change your character strengths, and you're not going to change your behavior, and you're not going to change your value system. And that's what is unique to the bank methodology.
So you're saying, without having had some kind of just experience that shocked you in a way, you are who you are. Yes. And if I know who you are, and I can say, oh, you're speaking French, it'll be helpful to me if I learn how to speak your language.
Absolutely.
Your value set, and I speak to that. I mean, it's not being a chameleon, you know, of, oh, let me morph into you, but it's like if you and I both were going to do a presentation to somebody, and you only knew English, and I knew English and French, and the person only speaks French, then who's going to have the leg up with that person? Me, you know. Or if we went and you spoke German, and you know the person only spoke German and I didn't, you would have the leg up. So if we can learn these different languages, the language of other, then we're going to be better positioned to help them. I look at it as, you know, I can have something great for somebody, Gigi, but if they can't hear what I'm saying, in other words, if their eyes, if they've zoned over because I'm speaking as I would like to receive information rather than how they would like to receive information, they never hear what great product or service I might have to offer them. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. And I'll give you a prime example. You know, in the John Maxwell side, the focus is curriculum, which is driven on the leadership development aspect of whether it is a single professional, a mastermind group, or it's a big client, whichever direction you want to go. And leadership itself is what John Maxwell's main core is. Leadership is nothing. It is just influence. And what is influence? It is about your ability to communicate with people, and the bank methodology just heightens your ability to communicate faster, more accurately, and helps you develop more lifelong, authentic relationships. Because when you know how to speak your prospect's language, which is value-based, and you know what to say to them that is going to help them grow more, it just makes it, the process is more true and authentic in a way that it allows you to build a deeper relationship. Not over a period of time, but much faster. And especially when you are in a business and you're trying to generate leads, you're trying to meet new people, you're trying to get your referrals, and you go from one person to other, and you've not had a connection with them from your past life, from dealing with them in another project or coaching program or at another event, then it's a totally cold relationship that you are now going to build. And in a business relationship, it is, yes, about your client at all levels, but then it is also about making a sale, which means you have to sell yourself. You have to sell your services. You have to sell your products in order to add value to that person. And bank teaches you how to do that at a much faster rate.
So, you know, what you're talking about is collapsing time here.
Yes.
You know, the faster that you can really have your potential prospect or client hear your message. I mean, let's just take, like, you were going to go and talk to somebody about your John Maxwell training.
Yes.
If you use bank to know what their code is so that you can tell about the John Maxwell leadership training that you have to offer and have them hear it and grasp the value, then that gets you into training them faster. That helps them faster. Yes. So that's a good thing. I mean, yes, that's really what I'm seeing. So I look at it this way. You take leadership trainings over here, whether it's John Maxwell, Stephen Covey, you know, take any of them, and you take personality profiling.
Yeah.
You take DISC, you take Myers-Briggs, which I've done all of those. You take any of them over there, and you take bank. To me, where bank separates themselves out a little bit, I don't have anybody probably that I can go in and present to and say first to them, please do the Myers-Briggs right now or the DISC before we speak. It's not going to happen. But you know what? I've not had anybody turn me down on, I just say to them, do me a favor. Take these cards, look at them, and put the values that's most important to you on top, and the one of the least value to you on the bottom. It's going to help me serve you better, and it's going to save us both time.
Absolutely.
You know what? They do it time and time again. And then I don't have to use another personality profiling system. And then what I'll often do, Gigi, is I'll say, now what I just did for you, why don't we get you online at the end of our meeting and let you get a free report, a more detailed report. So I've used it to speak to them in their language prior to giving the presentation, and yet I've given them another way to get more information. So this is the beginning of our trainings, you know, that you're doing, and you're doing with the John Maxwell leadership.
Yes.
I think it's phenomenal. So I want people to understand that, you know, these things, Gigi, are not competitions. And
no.
And I'll just share what I've said every day, multiple times a day since 2007. And that is, I want to connect, I want to engage, I want to innovate, I want to collaborate, and I want to leverage our unique collective talents globally to form synergistic partnerships. And that's what you and I are doing. That's what other certified trainers are doing throughout the world. We have about 25% of our certified trainers in Europe. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so by our ability to work together across platforms, across time zones, is absolutely amazing. So tell us, how are you going to further utilize what you're doing in bank to grow your particular business?
Dotti, before I answer that question, I have to give you a testimonial and an example.
Okay, great.
Since we are talking about the John Maxwell Leadership Program certification and also the bank methodology system and the PhD certification aspect. Recently, a client reached out to me, a big B2B client based out of the Dallas market. They're headquartered here. They have partnerships and their branches throughout the United States of America. They reached out to me for their 3-day in-house leadership conference that they do, and they reached out to me because I'm a John Maxwell certified coach, speaker, and trainer. Right. So they wanted me to do a leadership workshop, a 2-hour workshop based upon John Maxwell curriculum. They gave me some idea as to what they were looking for, but they didn't know what they wanted and what would be the right thing for them based upon it. So when they reached out to me, of course, I got the name and the title of that person. I reached out to them via email and said I would love to have a needs analysis conversation with them to figure out what I could do to serve them.
Yes.
Guess what? From our 2-day speed coding summit, which we do with Bank Methodology and the Global Bank Academy, we learn how to take people's social media profiles and we can speed, correct? So I actually had the opportunity to speed code my client before I even picked up the phone. Yes. When I did my needs analysis, I was able to ask the right questions, and within 30 minutes, I was able to complete the needs analysis on a phone conversation and give them some suggestions. Then I wrote down the suggestive analysis in the email, and I said, based upon your vision, based upon the needs analysis, our conversation, boom, 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 boom. This is what I look at as the key components of serving you in the workshop. And within 10 minutes, I got an email confirmation that we love it and we want to get on the phone conversation to figure out how we're going to do this. Long story short, I did a John Maxwell 2-hour leadership workshop for this corporate client, but I bankified it 110%. From the phone conversations to email conversations to the delivery and the facilitation. So the bank methodology was a required component that everybody will take those cards and sort their personalities. They had the tags on their names. I knew every participant's code, and I got paid 300% more than what I could have charged initially without knowing the bank methodology.
Wow.
That's the amalgamation of both training programs and what I am doing to build my business with the knowledge and expertise that I've gained from John Maxwell curriculum and from the knowledge and expertise that I bring from my career and with the bank methodology. It's just taking it to the next level, and I am super excited about what it's doing for my business.
That's amazing. Now, let's just clarify what does it mean when you say bankify? What did you do for your client that you couldn't have done if you weren't certified in bank? You wouldn't have known how to do this process, is what I'm hearing. And
That's
it
right.
sounds like you feel like you used bank to really secure that training that you did. So how did you bankify it?
Okay, so when I say bankify, like, you know how in the bank methodology, which is personality-based, people-focused, and profit-driven, right?
Yes.
So when you take the bank methodology, I was able to crack the person's code, the one who was communicating with me via phone and via email.
Yes.
I speed-coded them, and I spoke their language.
Yes.
So I heard what their needs were. And then it was not about me, it was about delivering the message that would serve that person better. And when I went in and I had 32 upper middle management and C-level executives sitting in that room that I was training on the John Maxwell workshop, leadership workshop, it was bankified from the presentation slides to the message, to the mastermind questions, to the interactive learning. Everything was, because I know how to speak all 4 codes, I was talking to everybody's primary and the second place code in my personal interactions, and I got a standing ovation at the end of this workshop.
Oh my goodness, let me stand up for you now.
Oh, you're so cute. Thank you.
So that's a fabulous story, and I hope what people heard and understood is that the bank methodology enabled you in your John Maxwell training to speak in a way to each of those 4 codes that were people in the room so that they could hear better what you had to deliver in this wonderful John Maxwell leadership training.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So here's another example.
Yes.
You know, I wish, and I've told Sherry Tree this often, I said, I wish I had known about the bank methodology and I had the understanding of it when in 2007 I was struggling in my role as a corporate trainer. And geez, I would bang my head against the wall and say, oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong here? You know, it seems like you cannot convey your message and your authentic, way of serving others just because it's a personality conflict. You know something went wrong, you just cannot figure out what was it. Yes. But with bank, the knowledge and the understanding and the depth of the curriculum allows you that understanding that, wait a minute, this is not what it's about me. It's about the other person. So you truly step into your actual zone of serving others because now you speak that person's language and there is no barrier between you two.
Wow. I got to tell you, this is just really hitting me, what you're sharing, because I took a year-long journey in 2005 and 6, Robbie and I did, around the country, and the purpose was to engage hearts and minds and to create authentic connections and to really just transcend differences that separate all of us in America. And people have said to me, what did you learn most during that journey? And I said, here's what I learned. People want to love, be loved, and they want to make a difference. And when we want to make a difference, part of the challenge and the opportunity is that we want to do it so bad, but sometimes we don't understand that the other person can't hear our authentic desire to help them because we are just presenting it in our own way, which is now, I understand, our code. We can't help who we are. However, as I began to look and understand more about the other and their language, somehow they're hearing us better now, aren't they?
Yes, they are. And to my surprise, going back to this example that I just shared with you, my code, my bank code is ANKB, which is Action, Nurturing, Knowledge, and Blueprint. Now, I'm very heavy in all of them, 40 points and above, right? So it was surprising to me that Blueprint in my personal code is the last code on my bank code, and I got a very heavy Blueprint Knowledge client.
Yeah.
For the John Maxwell training, leadership training, and I was able to get standing ovation from them because it made sense to them. There was something that that connected well with them, visually, verbally, and nonverbal behavior, because that our nonverbal body language and behavior and the messages that we give out are equally important than what comes out of our mouth and what we see on the board, right? So that was a great experience that because of my knowledge and understanding of the bank methodology, I was able to serve a client who speaks a different language and learns differently and wants a message in a different language.
Wow.
That was the key component for me, and I would not have done it if I didn't know any better. I would have probably, how we say in Global Bank Academy and in Best Technologies, broken a vial of vinegar. I could have, and it's been an amazing journey, and I see how the connections tied up, because when I did my graduate exhibit for my thesis, I used an offense meter strategy for my exhibition, where I actually purposely misappropriated the visual messages to see when people walk into the exhibit hall, do they get offended?
Uh-huh.
That was my offense meter strategy that I saw, that how would people react to visual communications and perceive the message. And now I'm doing that with bank methodology. It is just an amazing journey and an experience in itself that I can actually empower more people. If I could only do 25% initially, now I'm doing 300%. That's an amazing piece to realize. And one more thing that I want to say towards the end of our time here, I know we are running short on time. I just got accepted into writing my first book.
Awesome. Tell us about that.
And of course, it's going to be very inspirational and my personal journey. But again, trying to create an impact at a global level, inspiring people to be authentic to their core, and how do you communicate? So as an author, as a writer, it makes more sense to write the book, to write my core message based upon 4 personality types, rather than just saying the message the way I want to hear it, because it's not about me, it's about the message for the people, for my target audience. So I'm super excited about it, because I'm going to take bank methodology and utilize it in my writing as well as my speaking and my training.
Gosh, Gigi, this is amazing. I love that you're writing a book and how you're going to bankify,
yes, absolutely.
Message, and it'll be a much stronger message because of that training that you've had. And I also love the story with your corporate client, because I too, am an ANKB.
Yes.
And it's interesting. My A and my N are, there's, just so people will know, there's a deeper test we do where it can be coded, you know, to a number. And
Yes.
none are the same number. And so what that means for me is that in business, I'm pretty action oriented. But when you flip over in personal, my N kind of comes more first, because there's not as much of the need to be real, you know, go action. You know, but that's just who I am. I can't help myself, you know. I mean, I get excited about something, and sometimes, as we both know, that can feel overwhelming to people. We're not meaning to do that, but you know, you put us with the blueprint in our A component, and sometimes they're like backing up, and we're, why don't they see how much I care? But
No.
you were able to transform that into gaining the trust in the business of a blueprint. And the funny thing about the blueprint, I highly value the blueprint. See, here's the thing though, that's like systems and all. I train on systems all the time, but I'm not the one to create them. That's distinction, and that's why I'm a B, but I have high regard, high respect, and everything for that B.
Exactly.
So this is just amazing. I got to tell you, before we end here, I want to ask you something, because you've also had some personal great things happen because of bank.
Yes.
Are you willing to share that? Because I want people to understand, at the end of the day, this is a global communication tool, and Sherry Tree has said our real goal is to change the way we all communicate with each other. Because if I can hear you better and you can hear me better, guess what? We all have a story to share and a skill to impart. But if we can't hear each other, it won't make any difference.
It won't.
So, in your personal life, how has this impacted you?
You know, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was hoping to share that at a personal level also. The transformations I've had, you know, I've been involved in training and development and assessment components for almost 15 plus years. And I've done, you know, after being in 2 graduate schools and spoken at 15 international conferences and written and published, you know, you would imagine that you have it all. But no, you don't. And at the personal level, my struggle coming from India and settling in the United States and having 3 beautiful and, trust me, extremely intelligent children who are not only extraordinary genius, but they are also very caring people. So there is this 3 generation of dynamic in my household. And nothing, and I'll say nothing, worked when it came to communication and having conflict within my household within different generations. It was not until bank came into my life and I started coding, and I cracked every family members from the 3-year-old to 67-year-old, everybody's codes, and realized, holy cow, this is what the missing link was. Why we butt heads, why we fight, why we have arguments, why we reconcile, and why we go into depression, right?
Yes.
And nothing attracted my husband's attention until bank methodology came in. And now, in the last almost 10, 11 months, learning bank myself and utilizing it, it is strengthening my relationships with my children, with my mom, with my husband. And there is a difference in our codes. Like, you know how we all are born with our blood type? I truly, honestly believe that we are born with our bank code also. So it's a matter of understanding your personal loved one's bank codes, and then you have this aha moment that, wait a minute, it was just a different code, and the way they speak, it's not that they don't care or they don't love. For example, my husband is a BKAN. His nurturing is last. It's not very low, but it is still his last code. And my nurturing on a, you know how we have our point systems on a scale of 0 to 50, my nurturing is 48 points. And it's second. So I'm a 49-point flaming A with a 48-point nurturing. So when it comes to my personal relationships, I flip-flop very easily, and I go into my nurturing zone all the time. And that was causing issues in the last couple of years because my husband's last piece is nurturing, last code, right? And I have it at my almost the first part. So how do you communicate that where it comes across as a good understanding and a communication-driven tool to understand that, wait a minute, this is not about me, it's about the other person.
Right.
So it has actually drastically improved and changed my relationship and also my perception levels.
Wow.
It's something that I did, and I've been with my husband for this July, it'll be 20 years.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. So it's been an amazing journey, but to utilize that in a relationship building aspect at a very core level, that has been priceless.
So let me ask you, what specifically did you learn that you began to apply, knowing that, how he likes to receive information and how he likes to be communicated to is a different dance than yours? How did you apply that specifically?
The more I learned about the bank methodology and the core values, but then beyond the values, there are 368 characteristics that you have to learn, and then you have to apply and master those, the deeper level of the curriculum. As I grew deeper and deeper into the application part of it, I realized that every time I have to communicate with my husband and I want his equal attention, I have to keep my nurturing low. Before, especially when I'm talking about some decision-making aspects or coaching aspect or seeking advice from him, I have to tell myself that, hey, Gagan, you have to keep your nurturing low, because his nurturing is the last component. I'm not saying it's zero. I'm not saying it's really high, but it's still the last code on his bank code.
Right.
That has allowed me and assisted me in a better way to understand what he's saying, how he's responding, and what exactly he means.
Ah, interesting. Yes.
So it empowers me to then empower him backwards, So it's been going really well, and I have had some really good breakthroughs.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, on such a high note, we're going to wrap it here. Is there anything you want to share that I didn't give you the opportunity to share before we leave here today?
I think we covered pretty much everything, but one thing that I really want to give the message out to the entire world, I coach and mentor aspiring coaches, trainers, and mentors. People will reach out to me and say, I want to be a trainer or a speaker, or would you coach me to be one? And my timeline is 12 months to 3 years. One of the things that I really stress upon is that they have to learn the bank methodology system. Yes. That will help them get branded better, that will help them identify their true authentic self, and it will also put certain things in perspective for them as they grow their own business and companies. Just like John Maxwell certification or Sandler training systems or another franchise or Stephen Covey programs, bank methodology offers a licensing opportunity that allows you to build your brand, but also allows you to train bank. And that is something, that a message that I want to give out to everybody, that consider the bank methodology as a part, as a core of what you do today, because it is the language of people that is going to change the world one day.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. So essentially, people have that opportunity to engage with the bank methodology in their own personal lives and become trainers with our best technologies. And we're so excited about, growing this great group of people throughout the world. Because quite honestly, how it works is somebody may say, okay, well, do you have a trainer over here? We can't really afford to bring you in. And I might call Gigi and say, let's work together in a way, collaborate. Here's my client, and we can both participate in different ways in that. and we can both win. I mean, that's what collaboration is about. When we win for our client and we win with one another, that's as good as it gets, you know. So, Gigi, Gagan, Miss, I just appreciate you so much being on here today, sharing your insights, your knowledge, and we'll look forward to seeing one another in person again very soon, as we
very soon.
At the end of April, in fact, when Miss Sherry Tree is going to do a keynote at the Women's Presidents Organization annual conference. It's going to be a great time together. Gigi and I have decided, hey, let's room together, and I'll be soaking up all the knowledge I can learn from her. I'll give you that. So anyway, thank you again for being on today, and I will look forward to seeing everybody on another hangout that will feature various ones of our licensed best technologies coaches, consultants, trainers, and speakers throughout the world. Thanks again, Gigi.
You're welcome, Dotti. Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.